part 38, and in this video we are going to I'm going to show you how you can use our system to create more weapons. And of course I'm just going to show one, and the rest I'm going to do in the background. So to start off, you must have Blender, well actually any modeling software which can handle some boolean cutting. Yeah, so that's because we'll need to get the mag out of the full mesh. So we're going to start by duplicating this weapon that we already have, and then we can do the right click and unpack this prefab so that our changes don't affect, and then just drag it outside of the hierarchy of the player. We set the transform, and we're going to rename this one to AR18 weapon. Underneath we'll have these things so we can see everything's alright. The animation is set to this one. You're gonna just duplicate it again, and this one's gonna be called the AR18, so it's gonna be AR18, no 47s. And then we need to assign the correct one to this weapon. Okay, so we can already see that we have assigned the correct, well, not the correct one. Duplicate this as well, and then rename it, and it's going to be the AR18 as well. AR18, we can change the name to AR18. It's a rifle, it's a raycast. The icon, we need to get a new icon, so we can just duplicate this one, and AR18, we need to just rename that. Go to the sprite editor, and in here we can start doing command D if you're on a command delete if you're on a Mac, to delete these sprite cuts that just made. And we're only gonna leave this one here. The rest we're gonna delete. I think on a Windows you have to do delete, and it should do it. Otherwise you can try control with it as well. So I'm just gonna do command delete on each one of these. Alright, almost there. And yep, so we have this weapon which looks quite similar to that one, so I think it's the correct one. Apply the changes, and we should have the correct icon set up. The naming is not correct, so we're just gonna come in here and change the name. Make sure we selected that, AR18. Apply that as well, and we're done. So now we have the icon ready. We can select the AR18 weapon and pass in the correct icon. And then I think we can just use this one as our sprite for the crosshair. Alright. We can change this because I know it's 0.08. Time being shot in seconds. The magazine size is the same. We can just change this to just make the difference. Set it to maybe a higher range. This is going to be -14. We can set the recoil a bit more. We can change the snappiness to 17. Turn the speed to 23. Change the recoil maybe. So yeah, just can change things as we wish. So it's your preferences. Once we're done with this scriptable object, we can move back to the weapon, and we can see we need to assign the correct one now. So just assign that, and then everything else is perfectly done for us already. Now only thing we need to do is change the mesh, the correct one. Anything is this one here, AR18. Just gonna rename it. So now if you focus on this weapon, let's just hide this player here. Hide it, or just disable it for now. Don't need it at all. So now we need to import the AR18 itself into Blender, which I've got up here. And to get to this window, you can go into File. Let me just import it first. So to import this weapon in here, the File, Import FBX, and then you select your own project from your disk, and then you can import it. So I've got this in here, perfectly done by Blender, not giving any issues. So right away we can just rename this to AR18, and this can have a cube. So why does it have a cube button? What is this cube for? The mesh is, I don't know, forget that. So we need to use the boolean tool to get ourselves with a nice mag. So let's do that. If we select the weapon, we can go into the modifiers tab. So in here we can add a generate boolean. Then we can add a new mesh cube, and back select this one again, and the modifier, assign this cube as the modifier. To create a cutting effect, we need to set it to difference so that it's gonna cut the thing. Actually, you can see it how it's cutting everything. Yeah, so yep. Then we can move this a bit here. You can scale it. All X is just small size, so you don't need a very big size. It just has to be enough to cover the whole mag. You can do RX to rotate it on the X-axis, and then drag it all the way till it fits. RX again, as much as you would like, and the accuracy is your wish. So I think I've done that correctly. Now what we can do here is basically select the A18. We can do Command C and V, which is going to duplicate this with all its modifiers and everything else, but it's going to give us another cube to play around with. So for this cube, for this one, the first one, it's going to say apply, and this object is now, well, what did it do? Looks like it has made some type of a mistake. Just change it. Okay, now it's working. If you try it, sometimes the solver just doesn't like it. You can just change it to fast and check it now. Yeah, sometimes the fast one works and sometimes the exact. I don't know what this is, but it's kind of a bug. So I've cut it now correctly. Then we select the other weapon. We can go again to modifiers. In here we can see that we can select intersection, so it's going to give us that mag that we are looking for. It's clearly as we can see. Let me just hit it fast again. I don't know what's wrong with the exact modifier. Anyway, so let's just set this to apply again, and now we have two different objects, which now we can actually delete these. Delete hierarchy. We have these two weapons. We can just reset this transform back to 0, and it's separate, so we just separated everything, but it's the exact same mesh but different objects. So let's rename this one to mag. I'm gonna say AR18 mag, and then this one is the AR18 body. Whoops. Alright, okay. Now let's export this. So we can say file, export FBX, and now I need to go into my own Unity project. So let me go into the Unity folder, projects, and write down we have our FPS Full Body assets, my assets, and down in the models, guns, we haven't created anything yet, so it won't show up. Now we must make sure we have selected the hierarchy, then delete this, and this is basically the AR18 body. So AR18 body. Once we export, just only mesh, I don't want anything else. You can see I've changed settings, so my SD forward and everything else must be like this, and you'll have everything correctly done. So import it, export, sorry, and we have this nice little body. That's weird. Create a new folder. If we do so, you can say AR18, pass in this one as the very first FBX file. If you may have noticed, it's already imported both for us, so we can just actually duplicate this and delete. I'm not sure why I did that, because I did not select selected objects only. Actually, if you see, I forgot to check this, but that's okay. So we've got the two files that we wanted even without doing that. Alright, so now we can actually change the mesh. If we come into the main mesh, which is this one, and it's going to be set to AK-47 body, we can change it to, well, that wasn't good. So where's my FBX file? If we command Z, we don't get it back. So, well, what we can do here is quite simple. Just export FBX again, and just export it again, just one more time. I just forgot one thing. If you go into the model tab, it will show you the scale factor. We can just make that 0.2. And not because Blender is importing it, the modeler who actually modeled this thing has actually modeled it 5 times larger than the original size, and that's why we had to change the scale of this weapon. Let's apply it, and now the two that comes underneath it we can duplicate, and we've had some bug. Oops, just delete this. Also don't want these because they are not the new ones. And if we drag it back into the A19 folder, assigning the mesh, we should be able to get the correct size. So yes, we do, and we have seen a big bug here. Oh no, what has happened here? Terrible weapons become. I don't know. That's because we're using the material of the AK-47. So let's just get the correct material assigned. It's gonna be in the weapons AR-18. Well, actually, this material was not created. I have created this without actually showing you what I did. So basically what you would do is, inside the Assault 4 there's this material file. I renamed this one, and you can just name it this. Yeah, assign these. So maybe I can delete this and just show it all over again. Alright, so begin by renaming it as the AR-18 material. And we've got everything assigned. So if you check, we have I've already made that folder here as well. Well, you can create it again, and let me just show it again, so I just don't want to get you in trouble. Just have to create this folder underneath this, and then drag these directly. You can rename this to AR-18 diffuse and AR-18 normal. Correspondingly, they're already assigned correctly. Well, they aren't. Looks like they lost their references as soon as I changed those. So let's just assign them again, and then the AR-18 normal. Back to the mesh, we can assign the material here. Can just pass in, and our mesh now looks pretty good. There's no issue with the texturing, and everything else seems okay. What is this here? Just the without pulping. So one more thing now we need to do is go into the animation weapon place, and we need to create our new folder, and that's going to be the AR-18 itself. And we can actually duplicate the reloading, put it in here, because we have actually not changed anything. By duplicating, we take the advantage that we can actually duplicate the same animation and then just modify it to align correctly. Then we can actually get the animated component wherever it is, assign the different reloading. So we have the idle animation, which is also allowed to duplicate, so we can actually duplicate this now. And now we can assign the different reloading, so this one and this one. That is for this nice animated controller. Alright, so that's almost it, except that we're still not done with it. So this mag now needs to be assigned with the correct one, which is actually this one here. And well, actually it looks like there's some type of an issue, so the offsetting isn't done correctly. If you actually drag this scene, it won't work, and because it's not an FBX, drag this one in scene, called this nice scene, and set to 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0 is working pretty okay, it says. So if we actually reset the mag parent, just reset it all the way to 0, well, just assigning the mag, well, what will happen if I just assign this, given the correct material, and just turn off this one now, and then we can reset this to 0, 0. So yep, now I'm pretty sure the animation must be messed up, but we can fix that. We'll fix it, don't worry about the animation. So that's almost it for actually setting the whole weapon up. Now we can just delete, not duplicate, delete, and delete this as well. Don't want the FBX anymore. Yep, and okay. The next problem is to create the reloading pin, as the modeler still didn't provide us with any type of way to get our person to reload it. So we need to do that as well. Now we already have this funny block that we created for that weapon, but it won't work for this one, so I'll have to actually delete this. Yeah, delete. And now in here, what I'm gonna do is quickly create a pin. Basically, I've seen it looks like an L key, an S key. So how can we create an S key? I think we can use the Bezier curve, and it's created a 2D object, which I don't want. Curve, circle, well, nope. Surface, metaball, capsule, ellipsoid, and we can create some other stuff as well. So we're gonna create a capsule. That's a very big capsule. I don't know why it's calling it an M ball. I don't like that. I'm gonna get it from here. So cylinder. Oh, I think cylinder should do. Now we can actually begin by modifying the cylinder mesh. And yeah. To start off, we need to just rotate it. Control key and snap rotation and all the way to 90. Then we can do S to scale it down. Always as small as possible, as it has to be really, really small. Oh god, slide this thing. Now we can readjust it to somewhere about there. Alright, I think it was supposed to be here. Be down here in this place. And then we can just adjust the scale again. A little bit smaller. And then you can increase the X scale. And then we can actually move this using the transform. Now we're not done yet, so we still need to model this thing. Focus. We can go into the modeling area. Focus the mesh. Oh, why can't I focus it? Oh, let's just get back out of here. Check mode. Focus on it. It is coming out of nothing. Yeah. Alright. What's wrong with this mesh here? Let me go back to the layout place. I mean, it's really, I don't know what's wrong. I need to select modeling still. Go to face selection mode. I can select this face. This whole face is coming. I don't know why. If you select this movement tool. Alright, forget it. We can just extrude. So E to extrude, right? Let's press E and then Control to get a snappy movement. I think we have set something wrong here. Escape. So I'm gonna actually do an approximation. So I think we can get all the way till here. About. Let me just type in 0.5, type in 0.25. If I type in 1025, that's good, nice. And then we can rotate this. So if we actually rotate this here on this angle, well, that looks quite odd, but I'm not a professional. So if I say E and then I do the rotation, well, I think you can't rotate. I say E and then I try to rotate. Does it work? So without rotating, what do? We can extrude 0 then. So 0. Enter. And now if you rotate this one, okay, so that's exactly what I'm trying to do. So just rotate it all the way 90. Press E again and just keep extruding it. So this odd shape is becoming finally. And then just continue extruding it. So let's just. And then again, we need to do E, and this time we're going to pass in the number I have done last time as well. 1025. And then E and 0. Enter again. Finally use the control and just rotate that, minus 90. E again, and just extrude it to where it makes more sense. So like that's pretty big. So I'm just going to actually select the whole parent and then scale it down again a bit. So we can see this nice mesh we've created. S and slightly small, somewhat like that. Now I just need to export this, only this. Export FBX. This mesh and say selected objects so that our cylinder only goes. And actually it's a cylinder, right? So we can just say this is our reload pull pin. Alright, export it. Go on. And we didn't actually get it, I think. We did, right? So it's hiding here. And we have this nice issue, which we don't care because we did not actually do a clean meshing. You see, we actually extruded things inside to get that curve. Who cares about that? Anyway, let's just set it to 0.2. And that's because we still haven't modeled it correctly. So let's go back down here and just duplicate this one. And rename it to the reload pull pin, drag it into the assault AR18, then do that and create a new empty game object, call it the reload pull pin, drag it to where that one was, add a component, mesh filter, add the mesh renderer, assign the correct mesh, which is gonna be in here. Reload bullpen. I think that's how it's named. No, we just need to add AR18 at the start. AR18. Yes, and then we need to assign the material. So if I assign the material of this weapon, I think nothing should go wrong. So we assign it, and it's come somewhere there. I'm not sure why. It's come really small as well. Terribly small. Oh, come on. What have I done here? Oh, what's that? Okay, so we have made a mistake. You're gonna delete this one. I think we can just export it correctly. Like export FBX one more time. Come back in here. Yeah, look at that mesh. It doesn't look good. Delete and bullpen, and this is how it should look. But what happens if we just say 0.2 and apply it? It still is alright. This is an issue, right? This does not come well. It hasn't come in well. If you drag the FBX out. So, well, there is some scaling going on. And it says that scale this to this much and everything should work. I don't like that, but it's okay. You can use the FBX this time. Oh yeah. Maybe just duplicate it, then select the reload bullpen. Because it's still got the cylinder assigned. You can just check, drag that in there. And this one is the reload bullpen. It's already set correctly. Just have to say prefab, unpack completely. Assign correctly, just assign the AR18 material and it becomes black, which looks perfect. And then we just need to move this inside as much as we would like. So Apple's gonna actually catch this and then, like snap it, causing the little effect. Alright. Now we can delete this one as usual. We can rename this one to the AR18 reload bullpen again. Just drag it in there, close the folder, make sure that the correct one is assigned, and so we can carefully now delete it finally. Alright, not that, sorry. Didn't want to do that at all. So we have successfully created another weapon. Of course, it's not going to work right away. However, we can actually test it right away because it's going to kind of do the job that you're looking for. Loop time, we don't have loop time assigned. Yep, everything seems okay. The only issue is going to be the animation, which will not run well. So just to check out what we have done well, let's just drag this in here. Turn off, well, we can't turn it off, we need to turn it off and then we drag it out. Because, alright, what's so overridden? Yep, keep that outside and reset this one. So once you do that, it should come at 0, 0, 0, everywhere. If we hit the play button, you can see that the left hand IK and right hand IK is going to be kind of messed up. So yeah, we can already see a small issue. Yeah, so it's working. Looks good. So the first problem is in the player, on the player controller. Down here, we can see that we have assigned these IK followers, right? So the correct ones need to be assigned to get it done correctly. Well, they need to have the correct ones. So these guys here, they got wrongly assigned. We forgot to assign them. So just assign the correct ones from the current weapon. And if you play again, we can see that they have the IK working. So sway IK, everything seems okay. However, one more issue is the weapon is kind of really I think it's, yeah, well, it looked quite fat compared to the other one, but the problem is not that. You can see that this weapon is supposed to be a head, however it's not a head. Did I offset this one? I didn't offset it. So because its pivot is not at the weapon point, however this guy's pivot is gonna be, I think, yeah, it's at the weapon point, at the handle, not this one needs an offset then. So just just assign a bit of an offset. I think that should be how it should look. Set it to 0.16. Come come out of play mode and just assign 1.16, 0.16, not point. However, we can actually do another thing. So let's just select both of these so that these don't move. Just drag them outside, then select 0.16, then drag them back inside. And now I think that the pivot is kind of on the weapon, right? On the handle. So now we can see that we have a much better view. Yeah, of course, it was really jumbo gun. That's different weapon, yeah. Now let's quickly just make the correct IK assign correctly. So let's just, oh wow, it's not working. Why is it not working? I think we have done some issue as usual. Why not? What's the problem here? Is something forcing it back to its original point? Why is it not changing, man? Come on. The animator. So yeah, we just need to turn off the animator. That one was actually controlling the animation idle. Keyframed them at the correct point, which is not going to be the correct point at this moment. I'm trying to align these together. So about there, where his weapon is caught, yes, and then the handle point, so where he should catch it. This point is completely messed up. Just need to correct it. Yeah. Now I've actually modified the left hand and the right hand. Okay, we can't actually get them both, so we need to just copy one, get out of play mode, paste in the values, and turn off the animator right now because we don't want it. We need to still modify the keyframes, and then we can enable it again, because the animation will override it and give the wrong animation keyframes. Now I can set it global actually, correctly put it somewhat there, I think. Yep, weapons nicely caught. Now copy this again, paste again, and yes, so the IKs are assigned correctly. One more thing I just remembered, if you just check the weapon selected, its mag has a small issue, so let me just enable snapping, set it to 0.25 so I can have more. So now if we have a look, the mesh hasn't really got any ending to it, so you can see it's open from one end. Well, I think we can just quickly do this with ProBuilder. So instead of exporting it to the Blender, we can just do it in here, but we should have done that in Blender. It's okay now, so let's just ProBuilderize it and go into Edit Select mode. Let's select the correct phase. What is this here? Phase select mode. It's not a phase, right? If we say fill hole, nope, that's not what we want. If we just select this one and then select one of these here, this one, and bridge them, it doesn't work either. Fill hole, it's doing completely different things. So I'm not sure, but these two should be easily bridged. Fill mold, bridge is not available for some reason. Okay, so now we can try and bridge them, and then these two, bridge them. That should be it. I'm not sure what this is. So okay, it's just the opposite part of the mesh. Let's just bridge that as well. Not working or what? it's already got a surface underneath, so it's not liking it. So there's only one way. We can just remove these small faces here. Say these two, and just remove them. So delete, and they're gone. Well, actually the line hasn't gone yet. I think it's okay for now. Yeah, this won't do anything. It's not actually gonna affect anything really. Go into edit select mode. It's also not visible when not selected, so who cares about it? Nobody does. Propeller doesn't allow you to delete this, otherwise I would be able to. Okay, so it's actually connected with these. Maybe now I can actually connect the two edges together. If it allows. Select it now. If as a bridge. Yeah, so it's just not letting me do both sides, so forget it then. Let it be like that. And I think that's pretty okay, yeah. Let's just go back into normal mode. So we'll also have to export this as an asset. So that's because I don't want to use ProBuilder as this, like this. Why? Because ProBuilder actually rebuilds the mesh every time the project is opened again. Let's go to assets, and it's inside models, guns, AR-18. This is going to be the AR-18 mag. AR-18 mag. The problem is, as we export, you might not like it, so I'm just going to add extra T to it. And there it is. So now we can just remove the mesh filter and assign this one. Well, actually, the ProBuilder mesh filter and assign the correct ones. That's get snapped back to the position as I said it originally. So now our weapon, yeah, you can see that the faces are all right. So you can just begin by deleting this one. Yep. And then renaming this one. And that's gonna be the end of this video, yeah. So make sure to subscribe, as we're still in the series and more parts of the series are gonna come. So make sure to subscribe and like, as it does help our channel. So thank you for watching, and that's gonna be the end of this part. In the next part, we're gonna fix the reloading animation. Yeah. Yeah, so that's because currently it won't actually reset correctly for it. So we'll do that in the next video.